Okay, let's start you off with the first story of this hour, which comes out of the U.S. House of Representatives. We now can confirm that the U.S. House gave its final approval to a bill requiring unauthorized migrants accused of threat and other crimes like violent crimes to be detained. Now, this marks a very early victory for President Donald Trump and his promise to crack down on illegal immigration. The Republican majority House of Representatives passed the bill by a vote of 263 to 156. Many Democrats joined in and sent to Trump for signing the Lincoln-Riley Act into law. 46 Democrats joined 217 Republicans to vote. That is expected to be the first of several steps by Republicans this year to tighten border security and slow the flow of migrants into the United States. The Lincoln-Riley Act mandates the detention of undocumented immigrants who are charged with theft-related crimes. It is named after a 22-year-old student who was murdered by a Venezuelan illegal man who was wanted for shoplifting and had no papers.
This is a good bill. It's a common sense law enforcement bill. Simply states, minor level crime now, local law enforcement can contact ICE to get these people detained, processed, and deported. These people, these criminals that come across that inflict violence on American families, they just get more and more emboldened.
The Trump administration is moving speedily to roll out the president's immigration agenda. The U.S. southern border with Mexico is already closed for asylum seekers, while groundwork has been laid on several limiting who's eligible to enter the United States. Meanwhile, a Texas investigation said that the new immigration policy might put the lives of migrants at risk. Take a listen.
With my experience, I believe we're going to encounter more vehicle pursuits. We're going to encounter more people trying to smuggle through the brush area, through the ranches, through the farms. And with that, it comes more accidents, it comes more deceased persons in the ranches. And of course, we're going to keep having deceased bodies in the river. That's what I'm thinking we're going to start encountering as the new office comes in.
Mexico is also preparing for a possible influx of Mexican returnees. The authorities began constructing massive tent shelters in Ciudad Juarez border city. A municipal authority said the shelters can house thousands of people and should be ready in a matter of days. The Ciudad Juarez tents are part of the Mexican government's plan to ready shelters and reception centers in 9 cities across northern Mexico. According to a government document, the strategy called Mexico Embraces You will provide deportation and deported Mexicans with food and temporary housing, as well as medical care and assistance in obtaining identity documents.
My experience, I believe we're going to encounter more vehicle pursuits. We're going to encounter more people trying to smuggle through the brush area, through the ranches, through the farms. And with that, it comes more accidents, it comes more deceased persons in the ranches. And of course, we're going to keep having deceased bodies in the river. That's what I'm thinking we're going to start encountering as the new office comes in.
Me siento devastada.
Yes, I plan to stay here until maybe there is another opportunity. I don't know how, but maybe there will be one.
Migrants stranded in Mexico are also uncertain about their safety as appointments obtained by the Biden-era CBP-1 applications were canceled. That was an online portal.
The thing that happened yesterday was that there were some robberies. My Guatemala friends were robbed. And honestly, that makes me a little scared. Not only me, but the rest too. We are 3 relatives. We are 3 cousins. And, well, honestly, that scares us if we go out looking for work late or walking in the streets.
The migrants are denouncing the treatment of U.S. authorities after being deported from the United States.
Están cazando Yes, they are hunting us. In fact, it's heard that they are catching them in churches. They are making checkpoints. They are going to start with San Diego, and from there they are going to move to Colorado. Right now, the situation there is rough for the whole family. Those who do not have documentation are scared to go to work, to drive, and if you do not have a way of transportation, then how are you going to support your family?
Donald Trump has vowed to carry out the largest deportation effort in U.S. history that will remove millions of immigrants, illegal immigrants. An operation of that scale, however, will likely take years and be very costly, according to an analysis by Mexican think tank COLEF. Based on recent census data, nearly 5 million Mexicans are living in the United States without authorization. All right, for more on this, we are now being joined by Dr. Christina Iona Dragomir, political analyst and commentator from New York. Thank you so much for joining us on WION, and great to speak to you again. So Donald Trump has vowed to make border security a top priority of his administration. He made those promises on the campaign trail, and as we've seen, he's been carrying them out. Can you tell us about how all of this is playing out on the ground?
Thank you, Susan, for having me over. This is indeed the start of a new era of migration policies applications within the United States. What I would like to bring to your viewers' attention is the fact that mass deportations are not new within the United States. They started actually in the 18th century, and what we are seeing right now in Donald Trump's presidency is a playback of what was called in the mid-20th century of wetback deportation, when with the help of the Mexican government, the U.S. government, pretending that they are sending the migrants because of labor shortage, coordinated tactical operations to remove immigrants. This was the largest at the time mass deportation within the United States, but this type of mass deportations continue throughout the history. And more recently we see, and this is something that is not greatly talked about, the mass deportation of migrants, of illegal migrants during the presidency of President Obama, who deported more than 3 million illegal migrants. And Trump actually, during his first presidency, only deported 1.5 million migrants. So we really need to put this into perspective. What we also need to understand is that we see these tactical operations of the new presidency of Donald Trump taking place on many levels at the same time. We see the acts passing in Congress. We see the Pentagon deporting troops at the border in order to protect the borders. And we are also seeing the presidency officers working together with state and local law enforcers in order to make sure that the illegal immigrants who are thought to be criminals as well are being deported. So one thing that we really need to take into consideration, and this is a very important aspect that gets blurred out in the media and also in the policy as well, is this, that undocumented presence in United States, it's not a violation of federal criminal law. So just because somebody crossed the border and does not have the proper documentation in the United States does not make them automatically a criminal in the federal law in the United States. They have to commit additional crimes, such as theft, as we have seen, such as violent crimes, such as attacking law enforcement, and so on and so forth. So what we are seeing is still that we are holding on to the legislation of immigration, that one that is just simply present in the United States illegally is not yet eligible for deportation. Nevertheless, what we are seeing is the creation of a state of fear among migrants in general, among those who do not have all the proper documentation, among those who are protecting the migrants, among lawyers, among civil society advocates, and so on and so forth. So what we're seeing, it's a double edged sword. One is that it's coming through the law enforcement with tools in order to deport the illegal migrants who are present in the United States, but who are also committing crimes, but also this stage of fear and anxiety that the society is being under right now.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about this fear, but just this notion of a possible deportation. Tom Homan, Trump's border czar, said that the people crossing the border has significantly decreased, something from 12,000 a day to almost 700. That is a significant number, and this is just the first 2 days. So right on that point, thank you so much for your thoughts. I look forward to speaking to you again very soon. Of course, we'll be following this story very closely.
Thank you very much, Susan.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.